G'day guys, how's it going? So in this video, we're going to continue looking more at paths in Rust and how we can basically improve what we have here, which is this, fully qualified path to call a function, how we can simplify this using the use keyword. Okay, so let's get started. So let's go with this first or this second line here, right? So we got A colon B colon print module position, right? So every time I want to call this specific function in this specific module, which is the submodule of this module, I have to go A double colon B double colon and then the name of the function, right? So if I wanted to call the exact same function in this manner, you'd have to do this multiple times, right? And that can make your code untidy over time. So we don't want to do that in the long term. So we're going to use the use keyword to help simplify this for us. And the way we can do that is to go use A double colon B. And what this says is now I want you to replace anywhere you go A double colon B with just B. All right, so that means I can come here where it's got A double colon B and remove the first bit there. And I can do that down for this one too, right? So you'll see if I run this, the code's still going to work and everything's all sweet. We are in module B. Cool. So that is one example. We can do it for the C as well. So let's just do the same thing here just to prove that we can do it for other modules or submodules as well. So now here I can just go AC and Bob's your uncle, right? Now we can't do it for A, C, and E because there's a second module there, and we can't do it for A, B, and D because there's another submodule there, right? But if I want to say tack one of these like this here, well, you've probably guessed what I need to do, right? Just go use A path B path D. So now I can just replace A path B path D with just D. Cool. Now I could do this for ACE, but I want to demonstrate another example. What if, for example, I wanted to use, let's say we call this print parent module, right? At the moment, we've got A, C, and E, right? Which is a bit overkill. What if I just want to call it directly like, whoops. So say I want to, and I'll just cut this bit out. I want to call it like that, right? Because I'm of the understanding that no other function in any of the libraries will have this name, which is probably not realistic, but let's just go with that for now, right? Can I do this? And the answer is yes. So I can come up here and go use the fully qualified path and then the name itself, which is print parent module position, right? And by doing this, now I can call it directly. So you can actually basically bring in just individual functions using the use keyword. At the end of the day, it all resolves back to ACE print parent module position. It's just in our code, we don't need to continuously do this over and over and over. Cool. So are there other examples of this? Well, let's do the next one, which is grandparent. So let's bring that down to, say, just a function call as well. So you probably guessed what I'm going to do. I'm pretty much going to copy and paste and do the same thing. Cool. No errors to speak of at this point. Now, what if this call adjacent module position, I don't like the name of it for whatever reason for the code that I'm writing, right? Say I want to rename it. Can I rename it and still be able to use it in my code? The answer is yes. So if I come in and take this full thing, right, and I come up and I go use, like I did before, that gets us down to just calling it the way we don't want to call it, or with the name we don't want to call it. But what we can do straight after we put the use statement, we can put as, and then we can give it our own name, right? Our own qualified name. So in this case, I might just call it call module function or something, right? And now I can just call that same function here with the new name, right? And that will actually work as well. So call adjacent module, I believe that was calling the same E So it's one of the ones that's printing out E, I believe. You can look at this code here a second if you like. Um, so there's that pattern. Now, what if we have a conflict, right? So say we got a lot of print module position things here, right? And say we do want to use one of them, but not the other. So we want one of them to say down here, I don't know. Let's go with, well, we'll just create a new call called print module position like that, right? So we might say we want this one to be the AB one, right? So I can come here and go use a double colon B double colon print module position, and that will allow me to call this function, right? But let's say that I also want to call another print module position and I didn't want to give it a fully qualified path either. Say I wanted to call C's print module position function. So I can't do this, right? I can't go use a colon C colon print module position because that's a naming conflict, right? It's going to even tell us that. There's already something with the same name, right? So in this situation, that's where you would add your aliasing once again to resolve that. So I could call it print C module position. That's another reason for using the as keyword, right? Then I can come down here and I can call that straight after. And if we run this just before the last 3 lines, you'll see B and then C is called, right? So it's taking into consideration that alias. Now, there's one other module thing we'll run through before we start looking at structs, but essentially it's this, right? So if I come in here and I say create another module, I'll call it F, right? And I have a function in here, we'll make it public, fn call, let's say we want to call D's module position, right? Function. So we know from down here, where's D? So this is D, then we look up, okay, that's really just ABD. So then we're going to go, okay, cool. Then I should be able to go D colon, and then go print module position, right? And that gave away the answer. Well, you saw the answer, but basically, without looking at the answer, it's not going to resolve, right? And the reason why it's not going to resolve is because we are not inside of the main global module that contains these use keyword statements, right? So these are only applied to main. They don't apply to another module. So to do that, we need to do what we just saw, right? We need to use A colon B colon D, right? But we still have an issue with this, and you kind of saw it before, right? It came up with the word crate in front of it. Well, essentially, we can't just use modules inside of other modules if they're on the outside because we don't know which crate it belongs to. Now, I haven't gone into what crates are yet because I wanted to make sure that we focused on modules first. But to do something like this, we need to put the word crate in front of it. And it will basically mean the current crate. We'll understand that more in an upcoming video. But that is how we can use a use statement in here. We had to go crate and then the same name that we had before. And then I can come down here and I can go, well, in this case, F colon call module D function. And run that. And there we go. We can see it's printed out D here. Cool. Now, lastly, structs. All right. So structs obviously have the same path notation. So inside my B module, I'll just minimize this. I'll even minimize these for the moment. So inside the B module, I've added a struct with a field in it, right? Just to use as an example. So as a result, I've come down here and I've had to add a fully qualified path like this in order for this code to compile. Well, can we use the use keyword for structs? The answer is yes. So basically what we'll do is we can see we've got A colon B already. So all we need to do now is go, cool, I'm going to just go B, colon, some struct in each of these. And this will still compile. Cool. Now, this, you could leave it this way, but generally what you see when you're utilizing structs is that you actually specify the full path like we did with the function here, right? So you usually will do something like this. You'll go use A, double colon, B, double colon, and then some struct, right? And this is the preferential way with structs. We just specify the full type, like so. Okay. Now, the only time you wouldn't do it like this is if you had two what we call packages or creates. Again, I haven't gotten to that yet. But if we have two modules, let's say, with something that's called some struct. So let's say in my F module, I took the same struct. Right? Let's grab the same struct and we'll put it inside our F module. Okay. Now, if I want to use that struct, well, I can't just call some struct here anymore. If I want to use that struct, I now have to go F colon some struct. Because now I'm targeting that sum struct that I just put inside of module F instead of targeting the sum struct that was put in module B. Hopefully that makes sense. But ideally, if you know the struct is only going to be in one module, then you basically just give it the full name like that, right? For functions, it's the opposite. So the convention with functions is that you always have at least one path in front of it. You don't really ever call it like this, right? Where it's just a fully qualified name. And that's just a Rust convention thing. I'm not sure who made up that convention, but when you look at code around on the internet, that is generally how you'll see modules imported, right? So if it's a function, you just go use path, and if it's a struct, you'll go use path plus struct name. Cool. And that's where I'm going to end this video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.